Hello, you are welcome. For today's lesson, we are going to look at the topic Guinea-worm. So on page 13, unit 13, page 114. Unit 13, page 114. Okay, so our passage reading is on the topic Guinea-worm. Guinea-worm. Okay, we know a whole lot of diseases that if you are not careful we will suffer from, and guinea worm is one of such diseases. So we are going to look at how one contracts guinea worm, the measures to put in place so that you do not contract this dangerous disease or deadly disease. Okay. This disease, mainly during the rainy season, it shows up, okay, mostly where you see children walking in water, in flooded water, choked water or contaminated water, playing in it. There is a likelihood of them contracting this disease. And so when you go to those remote areas or towns, one of the diseases they seem to suffer from is guinea worm. So what is guinea worm? What are the symptoms? Okay, have we ever seen the worm before? So this is what the passage will be about. Then we'll have some questions to answer. All right. Quickly, let us look at the keywords from the passage. So I have just identified 4 of them, and the rest we will do that on our own. Okay, so that will also fully participate in the lesson. So one of such keywords, we have immersing, disrupting, or the word to disrupt, disrupting, expelled, embryonic, bureau. I'll take the words again. Immersing, disrupting, expelled, embryonic, bureau. All right. So let us quickly look at what these words mean. Okay, what these words mean. So we have immersing. I am picking this contextual, like its meaning in the passage. We could have several meanings to these words. So for immersing, we have to make yourself fully involved in some activity or interest. To make yourself fully involved in some activity or interest. That's immersing. I want to talk about to disrupt. To disrupt has to do with interrupting an ongoing activity. Okay, so to interrupt normal progress or activity, that's causing something not to continue. You cause the thing to be static. It means you have interrupted, you have disrupted an ongoing process. Then the next word is expelled. When we say someone is expelled, it means the person has been sacked or has been withdrawn from an institution or whatever. So if a student is stubborn, the student can be expelled from the school. It means you have been sacked. You are no longer considered as a student of that institution. But let's look at what expelled means. So to push or force something out, to eject something. So to push or force something out. Okay, it means the thing is not needed, and so it must be pushed out or forced out through a forceful means. That thing is being taken out. All right, then we have embryonic. This is an early or an undeveloped stage. Okay, it's an early or an undeveloped stage of a growing insect or something, where we have the eggs being laid. Yes. So when we look at the word embryonic, it has to do with an early stage of something, or when something is undeveloped. Okay. Then when we say bureau, bureau has to do with a hole or a tunnel in the ground that animal lives. Some animals live, so it can be rat, it can be, yes, they create a hole, a hollow something, and then they live there. Okay. Or it's also to make or to live in or at a place for safety. So when these animals are there, are in that hole, they consider themselves at a safer place, far from danger. Okay, so it is a home. Okay, it is a home. So just like we also have a place to stay, a place we live, animals also, one or the other, create their own homes, their own habitat, a place where they live, okay, to make their life or to be safe. All right. Quickly, let us look at the passage for the day. So I will just read quickly through, and then I'll give you a summary of what I have here. Okay. So Guinea-worm. The Guinea-worm disease or infection is also known as dracunculiasis. It is caused by a parasite worm called the Guinea-worm. It is a waterborne disease which occurs in rural areas where people drink water from sources such as lakes, rivers, and ponds which are contaminated with the Guinea-worm larvae. The infection is rarely fatal, but for about 3 months while the disease lasts, the patient suffers pain and weakness. This is because the disease is associated with painful blisters which can form anywhere on the body, usually on the skin of the leg or arm. The blister bursts open and the sore occurs, out of which a long female worm slowly emerges. The sore remains until the worm has expelled all the embryos. The guinea worm requires 3 things to survive. These are water during the embryonic stage, an intermediate host during maturation, and a human host during adulthood. The human being becomes host to the worm by consuming water containing infected water fleas. When the larvae get into the intestine, they burrow into surrounding tissues. 3 to 4 months later, the worms mate. The males die soon after, while the pregnant females continue to grow. In the adult stage, each thread-like worm can be 3 feet long and have 3 million embryos. One person can be infected by more than one guinea worm at the same time. 8 months after infecting the human host, the female worm prepares to expel mature embryos by migrating towards the skin surface. Up to this stage, most human hosts are not aware that they are infected with the disease. The pain begins when the worm begins to emerge from under the skin. The pain is temporarily relieved by immersing the infected area in water, but this contaminates the water and the cycle starts again. There is no treatment for guinea worm disease. Once a person is infected, the disease will run its normal course. The worm is extracted by gently and gradually pulling the worm out by attaching a thread to it and winding it around strips of wood or matchstick. Surgical removal of the worm is also possible, but it is rarely carried out in the rural areas. Most infected people rely on traditional herbs. Guinea worm can be prevented by disrupting transmission. This can be done by preventing water sources from contamination. Drinking safe water or filtering or boiling water can also help stop the spread of diseases. People suffering from the disease should not bathe in sources of drinking water. All right. So this is the passage that has been read. And so through the passage we have been taken through the causes, how this guinea worm grows in the human body. And interestingly, the human body is its main host. That is where it is able to increase, to multiply. Okay. And we have been given some measures to take so that we do not fall victim to this disease. All right, a summary of what the passage is about. So the guinea worm disease is caused by a parasite worm called the guinea worm. In rural areas where the source of water for their livelihood is sole dependency on rivers, lakes, and ponds, these sources are usually contaminated through human activities. Drinking from this contaminated water yields to many complications, and guinea worm is no exception. When they find a suitable host, they grow and multiply. Interestingly, the human body is a conducive host for them to breed. They lay eggs and multiply into millions. Most infected people depend on traditional herbs. Since there is no treatment for guinea worm disease, keeping our sources of water clean should be our priority. Okay, so that's just a summary of the passage. We are expected to read the passage carefully. Okay, read the passage carefully. For your exercise 1 on page 115, you will answer the exercise that's number 1 to number 6. Okay, it is based on paragraph read. So read each of the paragraphs of the passage carefully, analyze them carefully. So for the exercise, you are given alternatives, or 2 alternatives, of which you choose one to be the answer. You do that and you take a picture of that and you send it. You post it on the website for marking. Thanks so much for your time. I wish you safe. I wish you well in your endeavors. Try to be safe. It is very, very necessary. Bye-bye.